Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to the stream and another chapter working on that guy there. That guy there is our 1/48 scale FA-18F Super Hornet. And it's made by Hasegawa, and this is like chapter 4 or something like that. We're going to run the intro and we're going to get in. Okay guys, we're back, and well, let's go over what we did last time. Last time we got our cockpit assembled and into the fuselage. Doesn't look like much of a cockpit now, does it? And that's because I did a bunch of sanding and stuff like that and re-primering on my nose cone here to get that all done, and basically at a point where I'm happy with the way the seams look on it, and that's why I've got that covered in masking tape. So let me change the camera, you can have a little bit better look here. Okay. Yeah, so I got the seam like 90%, 95% gone on the nose cone here. Would have been nice if the nose cone was actually a separate piece to put on, but that's the way it goes. I kind of left that one there. There's a panel line there, or a seam line right there. I'm not really worried about it, and I did make sure that our little block here is nice and flat so you can't see any seam there. If I see a seam here or there, that's okay. I don't mind that. On the bottom it doesn't matter that much, but it is, you know, 95% gone. You can see a little hair, little remnant of it there. You can see where I put in a little bit of putty I had to put there. I had a bit of a gap there, so I just put a little putty in there. And that's that. And I did some sanding along the seam that's along here, basically because it was kind of had a bit of a lip, so I just sanded that down so it's not so prominent on that. And yeah, I'm happy with that. That's good enough for me. Yes. Other thing we did was we cut up our wings. We got these all done. These are all finished. So after getting the wings cut and put them together, I added in that little piece there, the R18, that goes onto the edge right there. So this is basically going to go onto that little spot. They have a little tiny notch, a little groove right in here for that to go on, right there. It's kind of hard to see because of the panel liner I got in there, but if I tip it like this, you can see that little groove there, right in there. No, not there. There. Yeah, right in along there. And that's where this little edge, that little strip is going to go in. Okay? It's going to go in right in there. And that's how that's going to line up on there. Just like that. Okay, almost, yeah, there. I gotta change my glasses. I'm trying to show you, but I can't even see myself. I can't see myself. How can I see myself? Okay, so it's gonna line up right in there. If I go like this, she's gonna line up like that. Okay. Just like that. There we go. We're in. It's going to go like that. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. You get the gist. Okay. Once this is in position, like this, then you're going to take one of these. You're going to take that and you're going to kind of fill in that little gap there. Like this. Okay. We'll get to that later. That's our wings. Okay, so that part is done. So, looking at what we're doing here, it looks like they want us to put them into the top fuselage and then just leave it. It's kind of weird. Normally you do, you know, put them in, you put your top and your bottom fuselage together first and then maybe slide the wings in. Let me get the two main pieces off of the sprues here, A3 and A23. Let's grab those. Let's find those. Here's our big A sprue. Now I'm going to do this Gundam style. Nip these off a little far away from the actual body. And I'll explain why in a little bit. Okay, there's our top one done. Let's get the bottom one off of here. Oh, missed one. There we go. Okay. So, why did I nip it off and leave so much of a nub on the edge on that? Because I wanted to be able to come in after and get nice and flush and do that and snip it off without stressing the plastic too much. Okay. Now spots like up here where we're not going to notice any kind of a funny business, that doesn't matter so much. But on parts of the fuselage that are going to be seen where we have curves and stuff like that, especially in the top, see how they gated it kind of at the top. This is you know, they really could have taken a lesson from Bandai. Just go down the street, Hasegawa, and talk to Bandai about undergating your nubs. That would be a very nice thing to do. Because now the modeler or assembler, whatever you want to call it. Some guys say they're model makers, and others say, no, you're just all you do is assemble. You're not making anything. Yeah, well, that's all right and fine. You can have that opinion if you want. Everybody's got an opinion, right? Okay, so I need to clean up my edges, okay, because these look nasty. They look pretty gnarly. So we're going to do a little filing and a little sanding, and I missed one. And that's exactly why, that right there is exactly why you got to be careful when you're taking off the nubs off of these pieces. So it would have been smarter had I just sanded that nub down rather than nipping it off right at the base. Also, you could use a higher quality nipper, something that's much sharper, like a God Hand nipper. That will help that will make life easier too. What would ultimately make life easier is if they undergated these things and didn't have the nubs on the upper surface where you can see all the imperfections and stuff. Now I have sandpaper here somewhere. Somewhere. Here we go. Take some 400 grit sandpaper. I don't need a piece quite this big, so let's cut this down. This is some 400 grit, so it'll make short work of my nubs for sure, without putting too deep of scratches into the plastic. And smoothing those out a little bit. I'm not even pressing very hard on it, just because I don't want to go crazy with the scratching up the plastic here. It's just about getting these down flush and smooth. I might have to put a little, wind up putting putty on these, couple of these spots that, well, that I should have done a better job removing the nub. But you know, in my defense, I've been awake for 2.5 hours. And you think, okay, so yeah, I've said I've been awake for 2.5 hours, but what's the big deal, right? Well, I'm streaming live here at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's 5 o'clock in the morning where I am right now. So you do the math. I've been awake for 2.5 hours already. And it's only 5 in the morning. Okay, so you're just telling us that you're crazy. Well, yeah. You know, I woke up and my mind was like, hey, let's just start thinking about our day. And I could not fall back asleep. So here I am at 5 in the morning, sanding down an airplane fuselage when I should be fast asleep. Okay, so that's all cleaned up. I'm starting to see why we're not bothering with putting the wings in, because putting the two halves of the fuselage together like this, there's nothing sandwiching our wing, literally at all. At least not yet. Now, I already know, just looking at the pictures, the wing is going to go in like this, just like that. And that is literally it. Just sits like that. There's nothing really too scientific about it. It just sits in there. So I guess I can glue it. But what I want to do is get rid of my little, I want to do my, you know, where the two edges of the wing meet on the front here. Let's just give that a little bit of a sanding and give the illusion of it being one piece. And then where it meets here, I want to make sure there's no lip here. So that should be fine. Okay, I think I'm ready to put this in here, maybe clamp it down. If I can get a clamp in here somehow, maybe like that. Get a clamp in there like that, maybe. Let's try one of these clamps here. Are you gonna be nice and hold there? Yeah, maybe. Sorta, kinda. Maybe a clamp at the back too. lined up flush. She's holding. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, let's put some glue on that. Let's make sure I got it in its right spot. There we go. All right, so there's one wing in. I'll set that down, and I'll grab the other one, and I'll just kind of do a little bit of sanding on this one too. While that other one is getting nicely cured in there. Pretty good. Yeah, see, this one's got a bit of a lip here, a bit of a step right there, and that's what I don't like. I don't like that. So I'm going to kind of shave this down just a little bit. Maybe I'll use my file. File that one down flat, where it's going to meet inside the fuselage. That's a little better. Let's do this edge too. If the bottom edge is sticking out, that's going to stop the top edge from being able to line up. That looks pretty good. That's better. Okay, let's see how she looks. I want to try and not touch this one while it's being held in there. It lines up good. This one's pretty good too. Just noticing a little bit of a lip right here on the front. While the glue is still a little bit pliable, there we go. Got a little bit of flash right here. There we go. Okay, that looks good. This wing. Let's put our clamp in at the back here. And get our clamp at the front. I'm going to put some glue on it, and then I'm going to remove the clamps on this one because it wants to sit a little bit proud. It wants to sit up high on that ledge, so I've got a lip right here, a step, and I don't like that. So I'm going to put some glue on, and then I'll take the clamps off so I can kind of create that little bit of a proper edge. We'll just give that a, 20 seconds or whatever chance to kind of melt the plastic just a little bit, and then I will take care of that. Okay, so let's just set that down. Okay, maybe not. Let's take our clamps off. It's fine at the front here, it's just the back needs that. There's actually nothing I can do about it. She doesn't want to stay. I'm gonna have to hold this. I don't have a clamp big enough to go exactly where my thumb and finger is right now, so we're just gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to hold it like this for a minute. Okay, there we go. Now it would be nice if I had something to just hold it like this. And just to suspend it in the air like that would be great. But I don't have that. I could lean it up against something like this though. Maybe my Pepsi bottle. I'll finish this up, finish my coffee. Let's just do this. Hey, there we go. Okay, that out of the way. Okay, while the wings are drying, we can move on to the other part of step 4, which is our lower fuselage. And it looks like we're going to be doing some intake stuff. So we need a bunch of parts. So we're not going to be actually doing anything with that just yet, because we have to assemble our intake halves without tipping our glue over. So I'm going to need some parts here. I'm going to need R5, which is this little guy here. I need A16, C13, A11, A2, A19, R36. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Okay. Let's grab our A tree, since it's right here in front of me anyway. So I need A16, that's this one here. A16, okay. I need A11. Let's turn this over so I can see. A11 is this little funny triangular guy. Okay, A11. I need A2 and 19. There's 2. And 19. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, that's 19. Anything else? Nope. I need C13. Looks like a big piece. Let's find our C tree here. I think this might be our C tree. Yep. C13. This guy here. Okay. If you hit your face. Alright, so I got a bunch of nubs I need to clean up off of these guys. I'm also going to need R36. That's going to go in the back half of our intakes. It's basically intake fan. Okay, there's that one cleaned up. Now for this section of the intakes, I already have them painted white on the inside like they're supposed to be. So we don't have to worry about that. I basically, instead of using gray primer, I used white primer. And yes, I know, it's supposed to be a gloss white. I also know that other than taking a couple of pictures when it's all finished, I'm not really going to be looking down the intakes. So it doesn't really matter to me how precise the intakes look. You know, for example, I know there are guys out there that would take putty and fill in those ejector pins marks and smooth this thing out completely so it's completely smooth and just perfect. And I'm not going to bother with that because I know from experience of building these planes, when you're looking down that intake, you don't even see it, and it's dark in there, you don't even see those. You're not going to see your ejector pin marks. It's not going to matter at all. So there's our two halves there of A2 and 19. These got to go together. So let's glue those. I'm going to get our leading edge lined up as well as I can. That's the only thing that I really care about, is that my edges at the front line up. The rest of it is kind of, you know, kind of like, doesn't matter. So there's that. Okay, so there's that one. And now we have these guys that are going to go in. I guess this guy goes in somewhere around here, like this. There isn't much helping me line these up. It looks like it just sits in here. Sits on there like that. It might be easier if that piece is already in this. So it's supposed to sit like this. This is really kind of a crappy deal here, Hasegawa. It would have been nice to have some kind of a pin or something like that to guide these and line this up, instead of just have it sort of sit in here. And then this goes on here like this. I guess. So, yeah, So yeah, there you go. So that touches on there, and then somewhere back here, and somewhere along this edge, we get some contact. It's really kind of guesswork. And then where this lines up along here, we'll run a bead of glue and just kind of set it on there and line it up as best as I can. Keep it lined up as best as I can, especially along this edge here. I want that to be straight and have no lip, and that looks like that's about it. I can't really tell if it doesn't look like it's making any contact on the intake along in here. It's not contacting at all. I can see light through it. It might be contacting up in the corner here. I'll see if I can get some glue in there, if it'll go. If it is contacting, that'll help. But that's about it. Okay, so then we have A-18 is supposed to go into this little notch up here. So let's just make sure that's straight. So that just sits up in here like this. Okay, I think I'm going to wait a minute for that. We can get R36. So we got two of those, and I painted it, already painted our R36, put some gunmetal on there. So we've got the nice silver color that it's supposed to be. They call it out for they're supposed to paint it steel, but you know what? Light gunmetal out of, to me, as spray thing is close enough. I think what I'll do is I'll put some black panel liner on it, just to give it a little bit of detail, just for those, for that instance when I do look inside. It'll have a little bit of detail there. Okay, don't want too much. Just dab that off a little bit. There we go. Just a little something, you know? And then she's going to go into the back end of that, like that. Okay. Just glue around there. I could have always put it on in the first place before I even put the intake tube on. I could have put that on. Doesn't matter. And you'll see what I mean. Looking down the intake. Can you see it? Can you see it? No, because it's dark, and that's what you're going to see every time you look at your airplane. And that's why I don't really bother. So, I want to see how our A-18 or A-11 fits in comparison to the bottom fuselage here. Because if I can wait until this is on here, then I'm gonna, so this should line up, I say should, line up on here. There we go. There we go. We do have a tight fit here. There we go. Okay. So our A-11 is really just gonna go across here. Let me grab my tweezers. It's basically just gonna go in like this and sit there like this. And that's it. It just sits floating in the air. Why is it doing that? I don't know. I'm gonna wait until it comes time to do landing gear stuff before putting that in. I'm gonna put this piece back in the box. Back in the box you go. And so that I can remember to put this part on later, I'm going to highlight it in my book. And that way, hopefully, I don't forget. But I think we could glue that in now. Let's put some glue on her. Getting this part to line up is fun. I want that pulled down just a little bit, but to stay there. She wants to rise up just that little bit, and that makes it so we've got a gap here, and I don't want that gap. So I got to kind of pull it down and hold it. Ideally, if I could maybe clamp it. Maybe clamp that, it'll hold it in place for me. There we go. She's holding. Put a little more glue here. We've got a tiny little bit of a gap right there at the very back. We can always deal with that with a little bit of putty later. I'm going to put a little glue here. where we're contacting at the front. We need it glued good, guys. We need it glued good. My intake is actually touching at the bottom in here. It kind of sits almost like this is a little bit of a cradle for it. So there we go. There's one side in. And we've got C16, which they want us to put down in the middle. We've got to drill a hole though in here. So they do show it's funny, they show the holes here and here. They show them as if they're here, but they're not. They're actually upside down here and here. So we could do that. We can drill that out. It's kind of weird. Like, does the F-18 not have a fuel tank that goes in the center? I don't think so, does it? I don't think they have a pod in the center on the F-18s. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. Anyway, we're going to let this sit and cure. And we'll work on our other one. Okay? So, I'm going to grab the pieces for this intake. You already seen me put this side together. I'm going to just do it all again with this side, okay? And then we'll come back.
Moments later.
Okay, so we have our other intake assembled. So let's grab our fuselage again. And I think I can take this clip off by now. And we're going to see how this fits again. Hopefully this fits as well as the other side without too much headache. She wants to be a headache. She's trying to be a headache. Stop trying to be a headache. There we go. She's a snug fit. I'll give her that. So as snug as it is, this side actually fits just a little bit better than the other side. Anyway, let's put some glue on there. Similar fashion, this one wants to just kind of sit up a little bit. So let's see if I can get away with doing the same thing. Clamp that on there and hold it in its spot. Seems to work good on the other side. Okay. All right. So there's our two intakes installed. Just like that. Alrighty. Alrighty. looks pretty good. Even though it was a little bit of a complicated process, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the end of the world. I do have a little bit of a thing right here where the glue tried to make a connection but didn't really, and it only did it in one spot, so I might as well just leave that as a gap. On that side. Because we can't make a connection. We just can't connect. Okay, so this has to cure a little bit. So we're not quite done with this yet though. Step 4 we still got to do. We have to assemble R19s and put polycaps in it. So let's get those off of our R sprue, both R sprues. R19 is this funny looking thing right here. And I'm going to wager that this is going to allow us to put our rear wings or flaps, sometimes called control surfaces, sometimes called stabilizers. There's all kinds of different names for them. It's going to allow us to rotate them. So I'm just going to clean up the nubs on these. I don't know if they'll interfere with the movement. This thing might go just sit in there static and not move at all. It is a little weird that they have us assemble a great big piece like this that goes right across the fuselage. Okay, so we're going to take our polycaps and we're going to put them in these little notches here. So the polycaps are in the clear parts bag. So let's just dump that out. There we go. So let's take a couple of these. One and two. I'm gonna have to adjust my camera. I'm gonna adjust my camera for next time, guys. Sorry about this. I clearly don't have it set up to focus on here. So it's more over here, but I need it here. Okay, so our polycaps are gonna go in right here. Doink. And doink, and then this guy goes on top. So we have a nub and a hole, and a nub and a hole. So you just go whoop like that, and then flip, and make a sandwich. Make a nice polycap sandwich. Glue them together, and there you go. There's your piece. Okay, now that they're showing is to go into this little notch here. Like so. Okay, fair enough. Let's some glue here, and some glue here. Put you in your new home. Add a little more glue. all that done. So our little thing in there for the poly caps for our rear stabilizers is done, which means our rear engines are really shallow. So much for the detail on the rear part of the engines, eh? Anyway, so that's that. We got to drill our holes for C16 to go in. So let's find a drill bit that's gonna fit in these two holes here. Let's see how this one looks. That's a little small. My next one. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. I love it when I got the perfect drill size. You guys saw me drilling the wings, so look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing here. I'm going to drill right into my finger. That is not what you want to do. Okay, don't drill into your finger. Drill in between your fingers. Okay, as you see, I'm drilling there, and my fingers are in between, so it's going to pop out in between my fingers eventually. Plastic's pretty thick in this spot, much thicker than it was in the wings. I can start to see, there we go, see, it went in between my fingers and I did not stab myself. I came close, I'll give you that, but there we go. That's hole number 1. Hole number 2, I'm going to go like that this time. So even when it does pop through, it really is not going to go and get my fingers. You guys ready for it? Get ready. There we go. There, hey, just like that. All right. So I got a little bit of burrs on there, but that's okay. We'll just kind of take my knife and do that, and do that. Clean up those holes. All right. So I think I can take this off now. So we need, I need C16. Which was my C tree? Which one was my C? Is it this guy? Are you my C tree? You are. C16. This little doorstop is what this is. It's a little doorstop with a couple of nubs that need cleaning off. I think with this it's going to be just about finished on this. So we want to put the flat edge facing the front of the plane, just like that. So I'll just hold it here, and I'll actually, since we got holes in the bottom, why not utilize that rather than putting glue on the fuselage. Of course, with my extra thin, it's seeped out through anyway. So there we go. So C16 is in place. Okay, just give you an idea. There's the two holes drilled through. Okay, and there we go. C16's done. Now, with the exception of our two little pieces that go here and here, this is done. Step 4 is finished. Step 4 is finished. So it looks like we've got two more holes to drill up here, up at the front. Okay. So before we go, now those are big holes, so that's going to be the same as those big ones we did in the wings, I think. This big guy. Yes. Let's see here. Let's go back here. See how it came out just in front of my finger and not touching me at all? Now for the one that goes in front of it, it's right at the very edge here. So now, if you don't happen to have the right size drill bit, let's say you can always use a smaller bit and go in the center of the hole and drill it out, and then you can always just use your knife, your hobby knife, and just kind of go around in circles and make those holes the size that they're supposed to be, because they give you the guide on the inside here to do that, so you know what size those holes need to be. That's just a little tip if you don't happen to have the exact size bit that you need. That makes step number 4 finished, which means we can flip our page and see what's next. Flipping our page is going to be step 5, where we're going to put the 2 halves together after putting piece number 92 in. But we need to paint. I need to paint those first, and I'm not set up for painting right now, which means that's going to be a next time thing. So that's going to be done for next time. I'm going to paint these 2 pieces and get those ready for installation. We'll put them in, we'll put our 2 fuselage halves together. That's going to be next time, okay? I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining me on this little journey and this little project. Yes, thank you very much. A bit of news for you guys. I'm not going to be finishing this build very quickly, because in a couple of weeks, going on a little vacation. We're going to South Korea for the month of April, and so I'm not going to be doing very much model building in that month. So that's going to be that. So if you guys are waiting for this build to finish and you're wondering why I'm not putting out videos in the month of April, it's because I'm not here, and that's why. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on that, to let you guys know ahead of time. Yeah, so got a little bit of painting to do. We'll get some stuff done, and we'll get some fuselage halves put together next time. Alright guys, I want to thank you again for watching, and please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and leave a comment down below too. I'd love to read your comments. Okay guys, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.